All right, check it out. We're diving right in. Like we are going straight in today. No nonsense. Ain't got no time for no nonsense. God put it on my heart to do something that I don't normally do on this show, but I'm going to do it anyway. So we're going to dive right in, and let's get this intro and let's get rolling. Good morning and welcome to #Rise and Grind, the #1 morning show in the world filled with motivation, education, and inspiration. I am your host, Glenn Lundy, husband to 1, father to 8, and the founder of the 800% Club, the club designed to help you unlock your full potential. Each episode is filled with celebrity interviews, inspiring conversations, and the strategies you need to get ahead in your career and your life. So grab your pen and turn up the volume because it's time to rise and grind. Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you, my friend? How are you, my friend? Dude, today is Thursday. Today is Thursday, June 29th, 2023. What's crazy is today is the very first and the very last time it'll ever be June 29th, 2023. So I want to make sure we make the absolute most of this absolutely incredible day. Hey, I wrote a show this morning, and halfway through writing the show, God was like, nope, I want you to share this instead. And so what I need you to do is get everybody in here as fast as possible. So for over you on Clubhouse, go ahead and hit that share button at the bottom of the screen so that we can push this out into the Clubhouse streets. Over there on Facebook and YouTube, go ahead and hit that share button right now. So I'm going to go ahead and do the little dancing thing. This is the part of the show where we do some dancing. We get these objects in motion. You guys are like, whoa, we're moving fast today. Well, we ain't got no choice. All right, we ain't got no choice. So listen, objects in motion stay in motion. Object at rest stays at rest. Get these bodies in motion right out the gate. Let's go. Tag your friends over there on Facebook. I want to see tags. This is also the part of the show where I want you to say good morning to me. I'm going to say good morning to you. Bella Rigby, good morning. I'm glad you're here. Vicki Everett, thanks for being in the building. Renee Hayes, good morning. Gail B. Craft, great to see you. What's up, Leisha Moore? I'm glad you're here. Babs Alexander is in the building as well. Marilyn Wilkin, thanks for being here. Jacqueline Underwood, Don Sankey in the building. Young Johnson, Leisha Moore is up in here. Rick Tamburino, Pastor Jeff Moffitt, glad you're here. Kelly DeJoy, thanks for being in the building. Tara Hope, Wendy Reeves is up in here as well. Who else do we got? Let's see. Melvin Rodriguez, Tom Popelka. We've got Mike Strong in the building. Scott Simons is up in here. David's here. Mary Lynn's here. Christina's here. Dora Maria. Tara Murney is in the building. I see Ramon Ray. I see Lolita. I see Liza. I see TM. I see Justin and Stars, Tina, Jackie, Fiona, Mary Kim, Bella E, Regina, Natasha, Peter, Dina, Jackie, Trisha, Victoria, Monty, Mike, Janelle, Jan, Miranda, Tom. Janelle's awesome. Beth, Babs. I see all of you. Okay, here's what we're going to do. So, for some of you that know, some of you might not know, my name is Glenn Lundy, husband to 1, father to 8. I'm also the founder of Breakfast with Champions on Clubhouse. I'm the host of #Rise and Grind, and I am the owner of the 800% Elite Automotive Club. Now, here's the thing about 800% Elite Automotive Club. It's kind of like Fight Club, right? Like we don't talk about Fight Club. It's kind of how that deal works. Well, today God said, no, I want you to share an experience from 800% Elite Automotive Club. So we had an event here in Lexington, Kentucky. We had an event called the Stories Matters Summit, and I invited a guy named Saul Blinkoff to come join us. And Saul shared a story that falls right into this theme that we have been tapping into this last week. We've been talking about self-mastery, which requires self-discipline, which requires self-awareness, which requires self-motivation. And the other piece that I was going to go into today is it requires a level of self-belief, all right? A tremendous level of self-belief. And there is a guy now, a guy named Saul Blinkoff, that has an incredible story of self belief. And he came and shared that story with us. And normally, like I said, what happens at Fight Club stays at Fight Club. But this morning, God said, share Saul's story, or allow Saul to share Saul's story with everybody. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring you guys in to our event, one of our exclusive events, and I'm going to let you hear it straight from Saul's mouth. It's incredible. Strap in. You're going to enjoy, and off we go.
Oh yeah, this is the room. I can feel the energy when I walked in here. This is the room I want to be in right now. Like Glenn said, and by the way, Glenn, thank you for having me, man. It's my brother right there. Give it up for Glenn. Yeah. By the way, you know what's awesome? That his kids are here. Yeah. You know what that tells you? He understands the balance of life, right? That's what it tells you. We all have a professional life. We all have a personal life. What, they can't be the same? We can't be the same in every aspect of our life. If we're totally different with work and with our family, we're missing something. We don't have that balance. It's an honor for me to be here today, but I got to tell you, when I flew in yesterday, I was on the plane and I was thinking one thing. As exciting as it is to be here for me, to be in bourbon country, because I love bourbon, as exciting as it is to be here, I literally was thinking, I don't have time to be here. I'm being honest, I just don't have the time. I have 4 careers. One of them I'll tell you about in a minute. But one of the other careers I have is I'm a podcast host. Yeah, I have a podcast called Life of Awesome. Because I wake up every day and I got one goal. I want to turn my life to awesome. So I got the podcast host. That takes full-time job for me. That's my time. You know what else? I'm a life coach. Yeah, I'm trying to help people with their marriages, with their careers. People to get out of bed every day and appreciate being alive. That's a whole business in itself. In addition to that, well, I travel the world and I give corporate keynote talks, trying to inspire people to dream awesome, dream bigger, like you were saying. That's a career. But put all that aside, I'm a husband. I'm not just a husband. I'm a husband that wants to be a good husband. I want to be an awesome husband. You know what it means? It's going to take work. You know what it means? It's going to take time. And I don't have any extra. You know what else I got? 4 kids. 3 of them are teenagers. 2 of them are girls. Raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about when I say the words teenage girl, right? If you want to be 1% successful raising a teenage girl, you know what you better put into it? Time. Think about how busy you are right now. What, you got no inbox right now? There's no email that someone's waiting for you? With all the ways to connect with people, you don't have a DM to write, you don't have a message, a WhatsApp waiting for you? Please don't check them right now. What about social media? 5 years ago, you had social media? It was Facebook. Yeah, I'm on social media. I got Facebook. Yeah, I got that. Today, if you're only on Facebook, you have no social media. If you're not killing it in LinkedIn, if you're not on Instagram, if you're not posting every day on Instagram, then you're not taking it seriously, because that's what the algorithm needs every day. Gary Vee will tell you that. We were just talking about that. Gary Vee's like, you take your career seriously and you're not posting every day? Social media consumes us. Our time is so limited. Each one of you is just as busy as I am times 10. We're all busy, because at the end of the day, nobody, not even Jeff Bezos, nobody is getting more time. Nobody is. So ask yourself a question. Why'd you come here? Why'd you come here for 3 days? Because if you come here for 3 days and you go home and you had a good time roller skating, you wasted your time. If you come here for 3 days and you feel inspired, you've wasted your time. You know why? Because inspiration comes and goes. Inspiration slips through our fingertips. One moment we're inspired. The next day it's, oh, what did David Meltzer say? Well, what did he say? What did Glenn say? What did she say? You see, it's one thing to be inspired. It's another to live inspired. If we all leave here and we can take one thing, not just a mindset, but turn it into an action and change the way we actually live, that's a success. One change when you get home. You know, each one of us is living a story. We're all living a story. I want to share with you for the next moment some of my own personal story. You know, I was 6 years old. I love to do what all kids love to do. I love to draw. You guys draw, right? You're the artist, right, Willow? I hear things. I love to draw. I used to draw on everything. I used to draw on the walls with my mother's lipstick. Do not try that at home. When I ran out of wall space, I have a twin sister, Rena. I used to draw on her forehead. I would use the marker, the Sharpie marker, because it would last longer. What does every artist want in the world? They want their artwork to last after they're gone, so use a Sharpie, right? Where's the greatest museum your artwork could ever be in? The Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York, the Louvre in Paris? That's nothing. The greatest place your artwork could ever hang is the refrigerator, right? By the way, some of those stainless steel fridges today, they're not magnetic. You ever notice that? So if you're ever shopping for a fridge and you have kids, bring something with you. Bring a piece of artwork and a magnet. The person will be like, what are you doing? I'm like, I got to make sure it works. Like, it's plugged in. I'm like, no. I got to make sure it really works. I used to say to my mom, you should put Rena on the fridge with the rest of my artwork. My sister didn't like that idea. But I knew that when I grew up, someday I wanted to be an artist. That's what I wanted to do. That was my dream. Then I'm 11. Excuse me. I'm 11 years old. I go to the movies and I see a movie that changes my life. I see the movie E.T. Remember that movie? Have you guys seen that movie? No, you haven't seen. You heard of it, right? Not yet? Okay, we'll talk. It's before Iron Man. There was E.T., okay? So I'm watching the movie E.T., the credits are rolling. I tap my mom at the end of the movie and I'm like, Mom, that's what I want to do someday. My mom's like, what, you want to leave planet Earth in a spaceship? I'm like, no, Mom, I want to make movies. Guys, I grew up in New York. I didn't grow up in Hollywood. I didn't know any movie people. I didn't know any creative people. I didn't even know there was a job you could have. I knew people that were teachers, businesses, lawyers, doctors, bakers. I didn't know anyone that had a job that was creative. All I knew is when I looked up to the screen, it called to me. It was something I wanted to do. I just had one problem. I had no idea how to do it. I didn't know how to make movies. So I went to a building that you guys will never go to. It's called a library. This is the olden days. That's right, my kids call it the olden days, before the internet. Remember we used to go to buildings to get information, right? So I go to the library, I get books on cameras, lenses, storyboarding. I found out that Steven Spielberg every weekend would make movies. So I got my twin sister, my older brother, kids in the neighborhood, and we're making movies. Murder movies, monster movies. One movie, I tied my sister up to a tree really tight. We made a kidnap movie. Afterwards, we go to the house to watch the movie. I still remember my mom going, I like the movie, but where's your sister? I said, she's still tied to the tree. What's wrong? So I knew I was going to be a filmmaker until I got into high school. I get into high school. I'm walking down the halls of high school one day. Somebody comes up to me. They're like, Blinkoff, what are you going to do when you get out of high school? I said, well, I'm going to be a filmmaker. They're like, nah, you don't want to do that. I'm like, yeah, I do. They go, no, you don't. Because if you want to be a filmmaker, you're going to have to move out to Hollywood. And Hollywood is filled with strange weirdos. They looked at me and said, you don't want to end up a weirdo, do you? And I said, no, I don't want to end up a weirdo. And I'm telling you guys, right then and there, I gave up on my dream. Because one person told me I would end up a weirdo. Of course, today I do live in Hollywood. And my 4 kids would tell you, Daddy is a weirdo. So much for that. But it's amazing how many times in our lives, you could be on a trajectory, you got a goal, something you want to accomplish, somebody says something to you, they make you believe in yourself. Somebody says something else to you, they make you doubt yourself. They change the trajectory that you're walking on. Well, at that point in my life, I gave up on it. My parents were like, so what are you going to do? I'm like, well, I'll go back to drawing. So I'm very lucky. I have very supportive parents. My parents got me an art teacher to come to the house to teach me to draw. Amazing teacher. She taught me to draw from life. She would set up a bowl of fruit. She taught me pencil, pastel, oil painting. Incredible teacher. She was amazing. She told me to go to restaurants, bring a sketchbook, and draw people in cafes eating. So I'd show her my drawings after a week. One day she looks at them, she's like, I like the drawings, but I noticed all the people in your drawings don't have hands. Did they not have hands at the restaurant? I'm like, no, they had hands. She goes, well, why didn't you draw them? I said, well, because it's difficult to draw hands. She goes, beautiful, answer key. You know what your goal is going to be? You're going to draw a hand from a different position every single day before you go to bed. And in 6 months, you know what will happen? You'll get good at drawing hands. She taught me one of the most valuable lessons in life. You want to be great? You want to be awesome in life? Figure out where your weakness is and have the singular mindset to turn it into your strength. That is the answer key to great. Look, I grew up in the 90s. You know what that means? It means I actually do know who the greatest basketball player who ever lived is. And the fact that you're laughing means you know who I'm talking about. And if you think it's the new guy, there's the door. There's some studio office space down the hall. You can go over there. MJ. Michael Jordan's in the league the first year. It's a true story about him. He steps off the court. A sports writer comes up to him and says, Mike, you're a scoring machine, but you got no defense, dude. You know what Michael could have said to the guy? I'm going to listen to you. I'm Michael Jordan. I got Air Jordan sneakers. I got sneakers named after me. I hadn't played yet. In my first season, I already got sneakers. That's not what Jordan said. He said in his mind, he heard one thing. Something I'm doing is giving that guy the perception that I don't have a defensive game. I guess I better work harder on defense. And he did. A couple of years later, Jordan was named Defensive Player of the Year. You know why? Singular mindset. You want to be great? All of us know what we do well. We all got that down. You know what else we know? We know what we don't do well. And you know who doesn't do things well? All of us. You know why? Because we're human. Who's perfect? Nobody's perfect. We all have a flaw. And if you wake up with the clarity of what that flaw is and have the singular mindset to turn it into your strength, look out. Look out. Incredible art teacher I had. So I was going to be an artist. Then I go to the movies and I see another movie that changes my life. I see the movie, The Little Mermaid. Not the new one. The original. Ariel, under the sea, right? The seaweed is always green. You remember this movie? This is BF, okay? Before Frozen, all right? With me? I see The Little Mermaid. I watch The Mermaid. I'm watching the movie. At the end, the credits are rolling. I tap my mom and I go, Mom, that's what I want to do someday. She's like, what? You want to fall in love with a fish? I'm like, no, Mom. I want to be an animator. So you know what animation is? Animation combines my two passions, my love of drawing, my love of filmmaking, put them together, animation. And plus, I found out that Disney had a studio in Orlando, Florida. I don't have to go out to Hollywood. So there I was, junior in high school. And Saul knew exactly what his dream was. You know what my dream was? I wanted to be a Disney animator. I just had one problem. I had no idea how to do it. Some of you are going to walk out of here and you're going to have a very, very specific goal of what you want to accomplish. What you want to accomplish today, what you want to accomplish next week, what you want to accomplish over the month, over the year, what you want to accomplish over your life. It's one thing to have the goal. It's another thing to know how, the recipe to accomplish it. You go to a great restaurant, taste an unbelievable dessert, creme brulee, tiramisu, whatever it is. You want to make it at home, you could do it if you have the recipe. I didn't have the recipe. Today you want to be a Disney animator, you go to a little thing called Google and you type in, how do you become a Disney animator? And you'll find out. You'll get 50 answers. Maybe 5 are actually accurate. You can find out. Back then, the olden days, no internet. I didn't have it. You know what I did have though? The most supportive mom in history. My mom took me, not my sister, not my older brother, took me to Disney World, walking me around Disney World to ask how her son could become a Disney animator. It's actually very embarrassing. We're getting on the, it's a Small World boat ride. We're stepping on the boat. The Disney cast members like, how many of your party? I'm like 2, we're stepping on the boat. My mom's like, by the way, my son wants to be a Disney animator. It was very embarrassing. The lady's like, ma'am, this is a boat ride? We don't hire animators here. So we go through the little boat. The boat comes back. The lady's like, look, if you want your son to be a Disney animator, you want him to work at Disney, he's got to go to the Disney casting building. It was 4 minutes away from where we were in Disney World. So my mom drives me up to this building. Can you imagine what a Disney office building must look like? Wow. Whimsical, imaginative. The doorknobs look like the ones from Alice in Wonderland. Remember the ones that talk? They were made out of bronze. I open up these doors. I walk into this atrium. Gold statues of Mickey, Donald, Pluto, Goofy. Even the air in there had a smell like that Disney air, like pixie dust in the air. You know what I'm talking about? And then there's a ramp. You have to walk up. Of course they want you to walk up, right? They want you to ascend. They want you to walk up, right? I'm walking up this ramp. Painted on the ceiling is Peter Pan and Wendy flying off to Neverland. I'm like, that's where I want to go. I want to go off to Neverland. Finally, the lady calls me for the interview. She says, can I help you? I'm like, yeah, I want to be a Disney animator. She goes, well, we don't hire those here. I'm like, well, who do you hire? She goes, well, we hire people that work the rides. You know, people that make the teacups spin around, people that make the Dumbo ride go, that's what we hire. It is Disney World. I'm like, that's not exactly my dream. She goes, well, hold on a second. She walks out, comes back in 2 minutes later and hands me a piece of paper. That piece of paper became the most valuable piece of paper I have ever held in my hands, other than my wedding contract. You tell my wife I said that, okay, Glenn? what that piece of paper was? Was a list of 8 schools, 8 art schools that Disney recruits their artists from. She says, if you want to be a Disney animator, you need to go to one of these schools. Boom, that was it. That was the recipe. And in my head, I heard it like an equation. Saul plus go to one of these schools will equal dream of becoming a Disney animator. So I end up touring different schools, go from one school to another just to see which would be a good fit. Give you an idea how strange artists are in art school? I don't think you do, okay? As a matter of fact, I know you don't. Pick the strangest person you've ever met in your life and fill an entire school of them, okay? I mean, like streaked hair, piercing, shaved, big lashes, purple lipstick. These are the guys I'm talking about. I mean, art school, okay? I get to one school in Columbus, Ohio. I'm walking through the school. The guy's touring us around, and I'm looking at the artwork on the walls. And I'm telling you guys, the artwork on the walls was 100 times better than anything I could ever do. You know how I felt? I was intimidated. Well, why would I want to go to a school where if I went to that school, and I'm telling you the truth, if I chose that school, I would have been the worst one at the school. I remember the guy's touring us. I'm like, wow, your seniors are so talented. He's like, Saul, every single piece of artwork on the walls was done by our freshman class. What? They're 100 times better than me? I felt intimidated. Why would I want to go to a school where I would have been the worst one? You know why? Because once you figure out that you're not so great, surround yourself with people that are better than you. And you know what you do? You grow. So I chose the school. Thank God they chose me. First day I walk into my dorm room, my roommate already settled all his things in there. I remember the wardrobe cabinet, all his clothes were in there. Everything was black. Black shirts, black pants, black shoes. It was like a Tim Burton movie in a closet, okay? Then the guy walks in, he's wearing all black. He has a shaved head, big blonde mop of hair over one eye. I never saw that eye, ever, right? It was like the Phantom of the Opera, you know what I'm talking? But he had these red leather boots with 50 holes. I'm like, ooh, a splash of color. Wow, cool. But he wouldn't put the laces in the holes of the boots. I'm like, Joe, why don't you wear laces? He goes, I don't do that. Laces means conformity. I don't conform. I'm an artist. I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy's crazy. I walk down a little bit more. I see another room. I look into this guy's room and I see Mickey Mouse slippers. I'm like, what kind of guy wears Mickey Mouse slippers? No offense if any of you do. I don't judge. Glenn, you're sporting those at home? I'm sure you are, right? He's got the Mickey Mouse bedspread, Mickey Mouse telephone, Mickey Mouse clock, Disney movie posters. It was Disney World in a room. I see in the corner he's got sketchbooks. I pick up his sketchbooks, I'm looking through it, and he's got drawings of hands, just like I drew. There's just one problem. His hands have anatomical challenges, yeah. They're 4-finger white gloves. They're Mickey Mouse hands. That's all he draws is Mickey Mouse. The whole book he had was filled with Mickey Mouse. That's all he drew. I never drew Mickey Mouse before. I felt intimidated. I turned to leave the room, and I bump into the guy whose room it is. Uh-oh, I'm busted. I look at him and I go, hey man, I'm sorry. He looks up at me and goes, huh, how you doing? I said, I'm good. What's your name? He says, my name's Jason, but people call me Mickey Mouse Jason. I'm like, they call you what? He goes, Mickey Mouse. I'm like, I heard you. You have a Disney nickname? He's like, what, you don't? I'm like, no, I don't. I go back to my dorm room. I get on the phone with my parents. I'm like, Mom, Dad, if I'm going to fit in art school, I need Disney stuff. Guys, I was surrounded by Disney nerds. I felt intimidated. 1 week later, a representative from the Walt Disney Studios comes to our school. He's giving a presentation telling us what it takes to get into Disney. The guy's name was Bill Matthews. He was one of the original animators on Sleeping Beauty from the 50s. He had a white beard. He used to hang out with Walt Disney. It's incredible. He stands up on the stage. He looks out in the auditorium. Every freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior. There's got to be 500 people in the room. He looks out this and he goes, before we begin, let me ask you a question. How many of you want to be Disney animators? Every hand went up. He goes, whoa, well, just so you know, out of the 500 of you that have your hand up, maybe, just maybe 4 of you will ever work there. That's how competitive it is. And when he said that, I remember thinking one thing. I wonder who the other 3 are going to be. You know why? Because in life, you either believe in yourself or you don't. It's black and white. I don't mean what you post on social media. I don't mean what you talk about. I mean, deep down, do we really believe in ourselves? Well, for that moment in my life, I did believe in myself. Maybe I was delusional. Maybe I had supportive parents that filled my head with confidence, but I did believe in myself. Then he says, if you want to work at Disney, you got to get the internship. No internship, no Disney. And if you want the internship, here's what you need. You need a portfolio filled with figure drawing. What's figure drawing? Drawings of humans and animals, all from life. No cartoon characters, he said. And especially, he says, no drawings of Mickey Mouse. I was like, oh yeah, Mickey Mouse Jason. You could see him like slouch in the back, you know, oh boy. But he was telling me the recipe. First it was the equation, Saul plus go to one of these schools will equal dream and become a Disney animator. Now it's Saul plus, you need a portfolio, 25 pages with hundreds of drawings of humans in life will equal Disney animator. So the first week in school, I signed up for figure drawing class. Look, I didn't know anybody when I got to school. So the first week, what do you do in school? You go meet people, you go to parties. I ended up going to this one party. I don't know if it was an Ohio thing. Any Ohio people here? No? Okay. Maybe it was in the air in Ohio, but you never saw a thirstier group of people. You know what I'm talking about? A lot of drinking going on. Apple juice. Really good apple juice. And at one of these parties, I remember in the corner, this girl was so thirsty, she created a contraption to drink that apple juice in less than 30 seconds. It was a funnel with a tube, you know what I'm talking about? And if you do, there's a problem, okay? So in the corner, there's a guy with a sketchbook drawing her drinking fast. And I go over to this guy, I'm like, what are you doing? I mean, it is art school, right? They're drawing, right? And I go, what are you doing? What class is this for? He goes, it's not for a class. I said, so why are you drawing that? He says, I'm drawing because I want to get better as an artist. I'm always drawing. He became my best friend. His name was Andy. And by far, Andy was the best artist in the school. You know why? Because he always kept drawing. And I will tell you, better than me being at that school was meeting Andy. And his work ethic became my work ethic. Because who you choose to be friends with actually affects who you become. Want to walk out of here and remember something? Want to remember one thing that you can apply to your life? Just take that home with you. Think about it. Who are you surrounding yourself with? Their values become your values. How do you know what their values are? Ask them, what do you value? What do you value in life? Who you surround yourself with will affect who you become. And Andy and I were inseparable, drawing all the time. Okay, so we go play basketball together. And when we weren't playing basketball, we would draw the basketball players together. Sophomore year comes, I get my best drawings in a portfolio. I send them to Disney. Look, I didn't expect to get in as a sophomore. I just wanted to go through the process. They said anyone could try. I send the drawings in. A month later, get an envelope in the mail. It's got a gold leaf Mickey imprinted on there. My name is typed on the envelope. Wow, the Disney company knows I'm alive. They got my name typed on an envelope. How cool was that? I open up the envelope. I got my mom on the phone. She's like, you're going to get in. I'm like, Mom, you got to say that. You're my mom. I open up that letter and it says, Saul, thanks for sending your portfolio in, but unfortunately you didn't make it. All right, fine. Look, like I said, I didn't expect to get in the first time. I wasn't discouraged. I was so happy they knew I was alive. I put that letter up over my desk. People were coming into the dorm room. Blink off. Wow, the Disney company knows you're alive. Another year goes by. Andy and I drawing all the time. One day we went to the Columbus Zoo. Bitter cold day. Anyone who lives in a place that's cold, you know what I'm talking about? Not cold, bitter cold. It was that kind of day. And we had to go to the zoo to draw animals. How do you think Disney animators know how to draw animals? You think you wake up every day and you got a piece of paper and you can just draw an elephant because you're making the Lion King? No, you got to learn the anatomy. You got to go draw from life. Walt Disney would actually bring deer into the studio when they were making Bambi, always drawing from life. So this one particular day, we get to the zoo. There's about 15 students. The second we get to the zoo, we go into this Wendy's cafe because it was freezing to get hot drinks. After 2 minutes, Andy and I sharpen the pencils, and we walk out to go find an animal to draw. And we find the elephant. And the elephant is like on parade, like walking like right in front of us. The elephant walks over, turns around, and walks back, and keeps repeating the same motion over and over. It's the greatest thing, because we're studying animation, we're studying movement, and to have an animal repeat the same motion over and over again, it's incredible. So Andy and I walked after him freezing for 45 minutes. Afterwards, we get into the bus. I'm showing Andy what I drew, he's showing me what he drew. Then I say to one of the other guys, I'm like, hey, we never saw you guys at the elephants. What animals were you guys drawing? The guy looks up to me and he says, none of us ever left the Wendy's. I'm like, what do you mean you didn't leave the Wendy's? He goes, well, we couldn't leave. I'm like, what do you mean you couldn't leave? He goes, we couldn't leave. It was too cold. Greatest words I ever heard. I should have made a t-shirt with that. You know what that told me? Yeah. What's that?
You want it, man.
You don't want it bad enough. Easy to dream big. Easy to work big? Not so easy. You know what's not easy for? Anybody. You want to be great at something? Go put on a documentary, whoever inspires you. I mean, I've already watched The Last Dance now 4 or 5 times. Can't get enough of it. You know the moment that I never understood about Michael Jordan was the flu game? Utah Jazz, right? Wasn't it the Jazz? Yeah, the flu game. We all knew he had a flu, but the food poisoning, he was able to play. You ever have food poisoning? Can't even move. He played in that game. Whoever inspires you in life, you know how they were able to do it? They went through some struggle. If there's a marriage, you got friends that are married and you look at their marriage, you're like, they got that marriage that I want. You know why? Because they work at it. You got a friend that seems like the dad of the year, the mom of the year. You know how they get there? Because they work at it. We don't have to go through pain. We get to grow through pain. And if you think you're going to accomplish anything great in the world and not go through pain, you're mistaken. Won't happen. My son will say that to me. I got a 14-year-old son. He always says to me things like, Dad, do you think that's going to be hard? I'm like, if you want to be great at it, it's going to be hard. If you want to be average, it'll be easy. How great do you want to be at it? How great do you want to be at life? You think it's going to be easy? So Andy and I take our portfolios and we send them into Disney. And we wait. A month later, I'm back home in New York. It was Christmas break. I get a call and it's Andy on the phone. I'm like, hey man, what's up? He's like, blink off, you're not gonna believe this. I'm like, what am I not gonna believe? He goes, I just got a call from the Walt Disney Studios. I'm like, yeah, and? He goes, I did it. I said, what? He goes, I got the internship. I'm like, congratulations, it's amazing. He's like, but they didn't call you yet, did they? I'm like, no, but they could be trying to call me right now. I gotta hang up. We didn't have call waiting back then. It's call wait. I hang up the phone, I'm pacing in the dining room back and forth. My parents come in, they're like, what happened? I'm like, Mom, Dad, Andy just got the call. They're pacing also. The phone's not ringing. I'm like, wait a minute. My last name begins with the letter B. His last name begins with the letter H. Shouldn't they have called me first? Shouldn't it be alphabetical? I can't stand this. You know what I did? I picked up the phone and I dialed the head of Disney myself. Who does that? I did. You know why? Because when there is something you want in your life, you will do anything to get it. When there is something you really want in your life, you know what you'll do? Anything to get it. You know, growing up in New York, I told you about my love of Michael Jordan. Before one game, I had to be 12 or 13 years old, Madison Square Garden. Nothing like being in the Garden. I'm standing next to the court before the game. We got there half hour earlier than my older brother. And who's 20 feet in the middle of the court? I'm just watching him warm up. MJ, dribbling the ball like this. Had the breakaway pants on. He had that focus on his face going like this, just chewing his gum. I said to my older brother, I'm like, Jay, I'm gonna go walk out there and meet Michael Jordan. My brother's like, you ain't going nowhere. I'm telling you guys, before he could finish that line, I walk out to the middle of the court. I did it. Who does that? Nuts. I'm looking up to MJ and I said, hi, Mr. Jordan. And he looks down at me and says, quote, yo, how you doing? End quote. Inspiring, right? Then he shook my hand, this one right here, with his sweat, and guess what? I loved it, you know? Never washed his hands since. You know why I walked out on the court? Because when there's something you want in your life, you'll do anything to get it. You want to be great at life? You know what you'll do? Anything. How important is it to you? You want to be a better dad? You want to be a better mom? How important is it to you? You want to have a better relationship? How important is it to you? You want to grow your business? How important is it to you? So I called up the head of Disney. I get the guy on the phone. I'm like, hi, my name is Saul. He goes, Saul, yeah, I have your name on a list. I'm like, really? And he goes, yeah, you didn't make it. I said, what? He goes, you didn't make it. I'm like, oh, okay, what about Andy? He goes, yeah, he made it, you didn't. I was like, okay. All right, thanks. I hung up the phone. That was a bittersweet moment in life. Sweet, I was happy for my best friend. Bitter, I got rejected. See, the first time I didn't expect to get in. I was just going through the process. This time, I expected to get in. Because Andy and I were inseparable. Saul and Andy, Saul and Andy, Saul and Andy, everything. Andy gets in, I get rejected. You know where Andy's going? To Disney World. You know what they call Disney World? The happiest place on earth. right? What a great tagline for your company. Whoever came up with that, like, promote them. They're basically telling all of us, you want to live in Hawaii? Yeah, you could be happy. Want to live in Cancun, Cabos, whatever? Yeah, you could be happy, but if you want to be happiest, the only place you can do that is in Disney World. Sunny, beautiful Disney World. That's where Andy's going. You know where I'm going back to? Ohio in the wintertime. Bitter, cold, gray skies. I felt like that was the most depressing place on earth. I get back to school, I'm walking the halls, people are coming up to me, Blinkoff, what are you doing here? Oh, you didn't make it. Oh, okay, where's Andy? Oh, he got in. Oh, cool. I became known as the guy that was friends with the guy that got into Disney. I became known as the guy who didn't get what he really, really wanted. Let me tell you how I felt walking those halls. You know, I felt like a loser. Loser, failure. Failure. Every day, every person I saw, every step I took on those halls, I felt like a failure. And then I came up with the most brilliant way to take that feeling away. You could forget everything I've said in the last 15 minutes, that'd be fine. Want to walk out of here remembering one thing? Would be this. As a matter of fact, I would profess to say you could forget everything that anybody said in the last 3 days. Forget all of it. Remember this, it will change your life. You ready? If you ever feel like a failure and you want to take that feeling away, do what I did and the feeling goes away in a second. You know what I did? I gave up. That's right. I gave up on the whole thing. You want to wake up and be mediocre? Don't strive. Don't go for it. That's what I did. I took away the want. I'd just be average. My marriage, yeah, it could be okay. It's fine. I'll settle. This is good. I'll go with good. Yeah, I'm an okay dad sometimes. You know, yeah, it's fine. I don't need to be dad. It's cool. My business, yeah, it's okay. I can pay my rent, my mortgage. I'm good. I don't need to go to that. You think it's for everybody to strive? I gave up on the entire thing. You know why? Because reality set in. Reality was Andy was an awesome artist, and I was just average. You know that every single one of us wakes up every day, we have a little shoulder angel whispering into our ear, you can accomplish, you can grow, you can change the world. But you know what else we got? That's right, the shoulder devil. And he don't whisper, he screams in our ear. Who the hell do you think you are? You think that's for you? No, that's for him. That's not for you. And you know who we listen to too often? That one. Well, that's what I was listening to. I gave up on the entire dream. I said, I'll just go back to drawing. I'll be an illustrator, average illustrator. A week later, a buddy calls me up and says, Saul, I got tickets to go see a movie. You want to go? I'm like, I'm not in the mood. He goes, but you love movies. I'm like, I'm not in the mood. He goes, but they're free tickets. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll go. I go watch a movie. You ever see a movie and it like talks to you for what you're going through at that time of your life? I'm talking about? I see this movie, and at the end of the movie, tears are streaming down my face. Not a little choked up. No, crying. Grown man crying. Well, grown man, I was 21, whatever, 20. Crying. The movie's a true story about a guy who's 5 feet tall. He doesn't have an ounce of athletic ability, and he wants to play football at Notre Dame. What movie? Rudy. Yeah, this is my room. It's my room. I speak to college university students. Did you hear crickets? Rudy, what? What's that? How many people here have seen Rudy? Let me see some hands. All right. Okay, no guilt. I saw no hand. How many people have not seen it? 1, 2. You? There's the door. Get the hell out of here! The people that haven't seen it, have you seen the movie The Hangover? Yeah. Yeah, you've seen that movie? Yeah, you've seen that? Yeah, okay. Help me out here, people. Good. Look, the movie Rudy is a true story. He dreams of playing football at Notre Dame. If you were friends with the real Rudy Rudiger and he told you his dream was to play football at Notre Dame, you know what you would have told him as his friend? Dude, I love you. Get a new dream. But you know what Rudy said? Yeah, well, we'll just see about that. And he tries to get into Notre Dame. And what happens? Rejected. Tries a second year. Rejected. Third time? Rejected. But fourth time? If you look at the movie poster for the movie Rudy, it says, when people tell you dreams don't come true, tell them about Rudy. He gets in, and tears are streaming down my face because I'm thinking one thing. If an unathletic kid like that could get into Notre Dame with an insane amount of tenacity and hard work, then what I thought was an untalented artist could get into Disney with an insane amount of tenacity and hard work. And I vowed to never give up again. I got the guy on the phone from Disney. I called him back the next day. He goes, Saul, I already told you. I'm like, yeah, let me ask you a question, though. How close was I? He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, how many people did you pick and how many portfolios did you get? He said, well, we picked 17 from over 3,000 portfolios from around the world, and you made it to number 20. What? I'd only missed it by 3? Do you know how many times in our lives we could be so close to achieving a goal? We feel we're miles away and all we need to do is push a little bit more. Then I asked them the $1 million question. Why didn't I get in? You know what we all have in common? We're human. You know what that means? We fail. The question is, what do you do about it when you fail? Because if you find out why, answer key. So he said, can I be honest with you? I'm like, yeah. He says, when you do your drawings, you're always like, your eye level is always the same spot. I'm like, well, you know, I'm 6'3", so that's where my eyes are. What do you want from me? He goes, why don't you stand on a ladder and look down at the model? Or why don't you go down and look up? Give us a dynamic perspective. Answer key. I go back to my dorm room. I looked at all the artwork that I had on the walls, all the artwork that I had done throughout my university. I ripped every piece of artwork off the walls. All my artwork, I took it down. Instead, I put up art from Michelangelo, Leonardo. I called up Andy at Disney. I'm like, send me artwork. I wallpapered my walls with artwork that was 100 times better than anything I could ever do. Because we're not human beings. We're human becomings. We want to grow, gotta have a vision. Who am I trying to be? Have a vision. Spend time thinking about that vision. What does my life look like a year from now? What do I want it to be? What part of your life? Every part. His kids are in the room. You know what that means? Balance. What is the balance I want in my life a year from now? 5 years from now? Have the vision. Know what you're working towards. Have that clarity. I was so close. He told me what I had to do. I went and started working my portfolio. One day I walked into one of my teacher's offices, Mr. Tolstead, a great professor. I asked him this question. I go, Mr. Tolstead, can you give me some advice? He said, Saul, let me ask you a question. He says, how many students out there want it? I'm like, thousands. He goes, can you control any of those other ones? I'm like, no. He says, so what's in your control? I said, well, I can control how good I am as an artist, right? He goes, no, you can't. The only thing you can control, he says, is the effort you make. Think Michael Jordan could control it, he'd become the GOAT? No, he controlled one thing. He took 800 jump shots every day before breakfast. My teacher told me to take out a piece of paper and write down this line. That's exactly what I did. Nobody worked harder today than me. If you can't say those words and they're true, you don't go to bed. Nobody worked harder today than me. That's the only thing we can control, is what we put in. The question is, how much am I really willing to put in? And you hear it sounds like a cliche. People talk about it all the time, you know, all in, work hard, never give up, all that. But now let's put all that aside and be real for a second. How much am I really putting into this? And not just career, all of it. How much am I putting in? So I started drawing more. I went to the zoo more. I got a new portfolio together and I sent it into Disney. And a month later, I get a call one day and it's Andy on the phone. I'm like, hey man, what's up? He's like, Bleakoff, you're not gonna believe this. I'm like, what am I not gonna believe? He goes, they built a brand new wing on the animation studio for the next interns. I'm like, yeah? He goes, yeah, you deserve to be there. I'm like, thanks, man. He goes, you know what else they did? I'm like, what? He goes, they built a basketball court. You love playing basketball, just for Disney animators. You deserve to play on that court. I'm like, thanks, man. He goes, but there is one more thing. They put up a piece of paper with a list of the next interns. I'm like, yeah, and? He goes, you're on the list. I said, what? He goes, dude, you did it. I'm like, what? He goes, you did it. I'm like, thank you. He's like, what are you thanking me for? You did it. I hang up the phone. I go over to my tape player. You don't know what those are. They play music, okay? And at the top of my lungs, it's the circle of life, and it moves our soul, right? I pick up the phone. I dial my mom. Can you imagine how fast I dialed my mom? She could hear it, by the way, dialing. We'll talk about that. I dial my mom. She hears it in my voice. She's like, honey, did you do it? And I said, no, Mom, we did it. We did this, Mom. We did this together. Mom, you're the one that took me to Disney World. You took me to this art school and that art school. But this winter, I said to her, you can stay in New York because I'm going to the happiest place on earth. I end up at Disney World. Someone at the airport, they got a sign with my name on it. You know those people at the airport? This has Mickey Mouse pointing to my name. Like, wow, right? I walk into a sign, under a sign that says Artist Entrance at the Disney MGM Studios. Today it's called the Disney Hollywood Studios. That's how you know how old I am, if you know if it's MGM or Hollywood Studios. I walk into a room a little bit bigger than this, wooden animation desk in the corner with my name on it. Saul Blinkoff, kid from New York. Let me tell you something. Do not think that you're hearing a story right now of a really talented artist that got his dream of working at Disney. That is not what this is. This is a story of the worst artist in the school getting his dream. And I'm telling you, if I could achieve that, you know what all of us can achieve? 100 times more. Because nobody wakes up great at anything. Nobody wakes up great at anything. I'm on the internship. At the end of the internship, they offer me a 5-year contract. Incredible. They're gonna pay me to do what I love? Are you kidding me? I thought I was gonna pay them, right? I go to Abercrombie and Fitch. It was cool then, right? I'm like, I'll take this, I buy a sports car. At the end of the internship, we find out we're gonna work on Pocahontas, also before Frozen. Remember this movie, Pocahontas? So the very first scene I ever got to animate in the movie Pocahontas, a very dramatic scene, Pocahontas is talking to John Smith. Well, Pocahontas is supposed to marry Kokwum, the Native American guy. He finds out she's talking to another guy. He's not very happy about that. He walks through at night, very dramatic scene. He walks through, he sees them talking. There's these leaves. He pushes the leaves away to see them talking, and they asked me to animate the leaves. That's it. I was the leaf guy at Disney. You go home, tell your kids, oh, guess who I met? The leaf guy, right? And you know, I was okay with that. You do a drawing of a leaf on a piece of paper, that leaf is this big. On a movie screen, it's projected, that's a 50-foot leaf. It better be a good leaf, right? I took a Xerox of that leaf drawing, I sent it home to my mom. She tells everyone in our community, right? My son draws leaves for Disney, right? She's so proud, right? She puts that leaf drawing on the fridge with my sister, who's still hanging there, right? After Pocahontas, they offered me the 5-year contract. I start working on The Hunchback of Notre Dame. You remember that one? Got to work on Mulan. Remember Mulan? Let's get down to business to defeat, That sucked. A couple of you were there for me. One of my kids asked me, my 18-year-old daughter, I can't believe I have one of those, by the way. She said to me before, she was like, Dad, are you going to tell your story? I'm like, yeah, I might share my story. She goes, you're not going to sing, are you? I go, why? Would that embarrass you? She goes, yeah. I go, then I'm definitely going to sing. You haven't embarrassed your teenager today? You're not doing a good job as a dad. Remember that when you're older. Dad's going to embarrass you. That means he's a good one, right? So anyway, I start having my dream. I work on these movies. Mulan is an amazing experience. I worked on it for 3.5 years, 4 years. Takes 4 years to make a movie. After Mulan, we found out the next movie was going to be Tarzan. Remember Tarzan, right? Son of man, look to the sky. I'll just embarrass my daughter again. There you go. There was just one problem. They weren't ready for the animators to go into Tarzan yet because they were working on the script. See, the first year they write the script, then comes the animation, then the color, then the music. While they were figuring out the script, the animators came in with nothing to draw. It was amazing. They call it downtime. Downtime is that you get paid to do nothing. I always tell my kids, they ever offer you a job and they say, by the way, we have downtime, take the job. You know what downtime is at Disney World? You ride roller coasters all day, right? Space Mountain, woo! Splash Mountain, woo! It was open then. Big Thunder Mountain, right? I became quite the mountaineer at Disney World. There's 15 hotels at Disney World. Well, 1 week turned into 1 month, 6 months. You know what we did for 6 months? They said, you don't even have to come in. We would crash the swimming pools at each one of these hotels. I'm at the Beach Club Hotel. Incredible. They had one of those lazy rivers, you know what I mean? I love those. You don't have to be alive and you can swim. Right? I got a pina colada in my hand. My brother is in law school freezing. He's like, Saul, what are you up to these days? I'm like, Jay, you don't want to know. And I'm telling you guys, at that point in my life, I had everything I could ever want. Everything. You can make a list of every single goal you have and you can just check it all off. I had my dream job. I was making great money. Had this incredible girlfriend I later married. I was living the happiest place on earth. Everything was glorious, except something was missing. I didn't know what it was. And one day, I got out of the pool and I remembered something. I remembered the feeling I had when I'd seen the movie Rudy. See, it wasn't just that movie inspired me to work hard, believe in myself. I remember seeing the power of storytelling. That story, Rudy Rudiger's story, changed my life. By the way, the very first guest I ever had on my podcast is the real Rudy Rudiger. should check out the episode. It's called Life of Awesome. It's a plug, shameless plug. And he didn't know that his story affected my life. And to tell him in the episode what his story meant to me was such an honor for me, by the way, just to hear that. By the way, I added all the music in from the movie and the scenes. You got to check it out. But I saw the power of story. Story changes lives. It's not that story gets you your agenda. Story changes lives. You know why? Because it's primal. It's universal. We're all living a story. That's the power of storytelling. I get out of the pool, and rather than just wasting my time floating and going through Splash Mountain every day, I said to one of my buddies, you know what? Let's go make something. We're Disney animators. Let's go make something. Let's go make a short film. So we write a short film about a little pig who dreams of flying. You know the expression, when pigs fly? What does it mean? It means no way. Yeah, it's going to happen. When pigs fly. Oh, we had a little motto. If pigs can fly, you can try. And we made a little story about a little pig named Rudy. Yeah. And we made this short film. Can't see it. It's not online anywhere. We made most of it. We finished it, but we never got to animate all of it. It was a way to show our skills as filmmakers and directors. We showed it to the company. They loved it. They're like, look, we think you should keep making it, but we're not going to give you any more money to make it. So me and my best friend had a decision to make. What are we going to do? So we leave Disney. Did you hear that? How could you leave Disney? You worked so hard to get in there. We left Disney. I went to work at MTV, started my career as a director. Did I want to be back in New York in the freezing cold? No, but I wanted to be a storyteller. I moved to Manhattan, become a director at MTV. A year later, I returned to Disney, this time in LA, and as a director, directing a Winnie the Pooh movie. And then I became a director on lots of Disney movies. Kronk's New Groove, directed Doc McStuffins, Barbie Dreamhouse Adventures, you know that show? Llama Llama, Madagascar, A Little Wild, lots of little fun projects along the way. I want to tell you something though. My mind shifted. It used to be that all I wanted to do was be at Disney. If I could go back to myself when I got rejected the second time, you know what I would tell myself? Grow up. I can only be happy at Disney. See, I realized something. It doesn't matter where you are. It matters what are you doing while you're there. To wake up every day and say, I want my life to be meaningful. I want it to impact another person. Anyone not see The Lion King? Everyone see The Lion King here? Yeah? Okay, we can talk then. All right. Lion King. Simba wants to be king. Sings about it. I just can't wait to be king. Thinks being a king is he can do whatever he wants. Mufasa says, Simba, there's more to being a king than getting your way all the time. Simba's like, there's more? What could be better than that? What happens? Dad dies. It is a Disney movie, right? They always have to kill off a parent. Isn't that true? By the way, you ever notice how many Disney movies don't have moms, right? Little Mermaid, no mom. Aladdin, no mom. Belle, no mom. Bambi, killed. Look at that. Look what they did to her, right? Lion King, dad dies. Simba goes off and lives in Hakuna Matata world. Remember Hakuna Matata, right? What does Hakuna Matata world look like? Ain't no worries. Who doesn't want that? For the rest of your days. Come on. It's all problem free. Oh, my kids are gonna love this. Philosophy. Yeah, I love that, yeah. I can't wait until my daughter. Not only do I sing, they all sing. Hakuna Matata, you know what it looks like? It's a lush garden. It looks like Hawaii. There's waterfalls. It's greenery. It's beautiful. He sleeps in a jacuzzi, a hammock, hangs down in a jacuzzi with Pumbaa and Timon. You know what kind of life he has? The life we all want. Why, you don't want that? We all want a life of no worries. We all are working so hard because we want to get to that vacation. I want to get that boat. I want to be financially dependent. I don't want to have to worry. We all want a life like that. That's a life? Hold on a second. You know who shows up towards the end of the movie? Who shows up? Who shows up to see him? Nala. Yeah, but Nala's a little different now, isn't she? She's all grown up now, right? She's got the eyelashes, right? They got their song, Can You Feel the Love? They're rolling around, right? There's that scene where they're about to make out. You know what I'm talking about? It's a little weird, right? When their face is like this. I cover my kids' eyes. They're like, Dad, it's just lines. I'm like, still inappropriate, right? And then after they roll around, they decide to have a conversation. Yeah, maybe we should talk. So they talk, and she says, Simba, it's good to see you, but you got to come back with me, man. He's like, nah, I'm staying here. Hakuna Matata, look where I live. She goes, maybe I didn't make myself clear. Scar's taken over everything, and if you don't come back with me, everyone's gonna die, and you are responsible. And you know what he says? Hakuna Matata, I'm staying right here. And she sings, why won't he be the king I know he is, the king I see inside? When are you gonna grow up? When are you gonna live your potential? She leaves him. You think that's what life is about? I told you you're responsible and you don't care? Everyone's gonna die, including his mother, by the way. Hakuna Matata, I'm staying right here. I want a life of no worries. And she leaves. He's left alone. Rafiki comes, hits him on the head, sees his reflection in the water, sees Mufasa in the clouds. Remember who you are. Simba goes back, defeats Scar, and Lion King becomes the biggest animated movie in history, BF, before Frozen. You know why? Not because we love movies about lions. You see, that movie gave us a vision of what real greatness is. You know what it is? One thing. Waking up every day with a singular mindset to take responsibility for the world. That's what it is. Take responsibility for the world. You know what my favorite movie is? Shawshank. I'm sure you're right there with me. We love that movie. You know the scene we love in that movie? He's gone through all those pipes of crap and he stands there like this and the rain is washing. We all feel like that. It's hard to be alive. It's hard to work on marriage, hard to be a good parent, hard to build a career, hard to sustain a career. You know, every single thing you have of value right now, you could lose like that. You know that every single thing of value you have right now, you could lose in a second. Your family, God forbid, but it could happen. Your bank account, God forbid, it could happen. Your life, it's all fleeting. Can lose it in a second. We all feel like we want that moment where we're like, oh, come on. Please tell me that I can just feel pure, that I can stand in the sun, can have that moment. You know the tragedy of that movie for me is the ending. There's something beautiful about it. Something beautiful about it. Morgan Freeman's talking about hope, but the ending, is it okay if I spoil? Does anyone not see it? All right, the ending, well, I'll try to do it in a way that's not spoiling in case anyone hasn't seen it. The ending, two guys in a boat in front of the ocean. That's what life's about. It's not what life's about. You can't live on an island. Life's about how do I take this vacation and bring it back into the world. Do we work all week to get to the vacation? Do we work all year to get to the vacation? Or do we have the weekend to recharge, rejuvenate, re-inspire, re-clarify the real work of life? You know what it is? If you ask 99% of the world, what do you want? Everyone's gonna say the same thing. I want a life of happiness. The problem is that happiness is usually contingent on outside experiences. If I get this, I'll be happy. If my wife looks like that, I'll be happy. If my husband can do that, I'll be happy. If my bank account can get 2 more zeros, man, would I be happy. Happiness is usually contingent on outside experiences. You know what's better than a life of happiness? A life of meaning. How do you get that? Only one way. It's not what have you accomplished. It's what are you striving to accomplish. Who are you striving to be? Got one final story to share with you.
Who
on my podcast.
Are you striving to be? I don't know exactly who that was for today. Maybe it was for me, even though I'd already seen it a couple times. I don't know exactly who that was for today, but I want you to know that we completely rearranged the way that we do the show just for you. I hope you appreciate it just as much as I appreciate you. I'll be back tomorrow morning, 5:30 a.m. We'll do it all over again right here on #Rise and Grind.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. #Rise and Grind, #Rise and Grind. First thing on my mind, early in the morning time. Daily motivation, feeling so divine. Waking up the nation, #Rise and Grind, #Rise and Grind, grind, grind. 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 #Rise and Grind. First thing on my mind, early in the morning time. Daily motivation.
Kate, we went a minute over. Please don't be mad at me.